From Caring Senior Service, I want to welcome to the program the owner, Dean White, and former employee, sometimes off and on employee, David Lambert. Thank you guys for joining us.
Yeah, good to see you, Dave. Really good to see you, Michael.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Now, David, some people might recognize you from The Fosters, right?
Yes. I have kind of a colorful background here, but yes, I'm an actor. I'm a teacher as well. I teach acting as well, and yeah, it's been my world for some time. You know.
But before that, or during that off and on time, instead of being a waiter, which is a typical Hollywood actor kind of thing to be in terms of making the ends meet, you actually worked for Caring Senior Service.
100%. Yeah.
And so I always talk to Dean about what it's like for people to be in the home and that relationship. But what was that like for you to kind of discover this world that you probably didn't know too much about before you got the job, right?
100%. Yeah, it was. I have to thank Dean here for kind of bringing me into the fold. But it was definitely a learning experience. I was very open and receptive to being a part of it, and I definitely learned a lot. I think home care and particularly Caring Senior Service is a lot more fulfilling than maybe being a waiter. And I think for me, it touched me to kind of do something that was a lot more meaningful, to be there for families in their time of need, to support them, to come alongside them with whatever they may need. What I really learned was caring can really adapt to the needs of the family, whatever, if it's minor or if it's more involved. And I think it was a very, very fulfilling experience and has been. I continue to, I know Dean very well, and I continue to kind of be involved with caring in my own ways. So and my brother also works for the company still to this day. He's a caregiver. Yeah, very fulfilling work.
And Dean, when you hear that, I mean, that's kind of like your whole business model. Is like, it's not about like being there and making sure they take their meds, which is part of it, but like there's relationships, there's a bond, and there's an empathy on both sides, and that goes to the care that they get when they come into your place.
Yeah, 100%. We really want to be an extension of the family, and so often daughters and sons can't be there. And so why don't we have somebody that's a caregiver that feels like a son, feels like a daughter, or a grandchild. And it's beautiful to see a caregiver go the extra mile. And I get stories all the time about clients that just go, thank you. I finally have more independence. I have, their kids or their family members are saying, wow, mom, dad is being taken care of. And we're not worried as much. Huge difference.
And when people think about caregivers, I think sometimes they get the impression, well, I want my independence, I want my freedom, and that's actually what these caregivers can do, is prolong that independence and let them keep doing the things they want to do with just a little help, right?
An example is just simply, as we get older, we lose our balance. If you have somebody there that is there when you need them, then you're able to go for the walks that you want to without having the fear of falling and slipping, etc.
And for you, David, that experience, what was that like for you as the person giving that care and kind of learning what this world is like?
100%. Well, Dean touched on it. It's purely relationships is what I learned. You can condense it down to that, and it's a very people sort of oriented job. You learn what the family needs, you learn what the individual needs, and what they prefer. And I think for me, it became a really personal, kind of special thing from family to family, from individual to individual. It could be something as simple as just being company, and I learned a lot. You learn so much from people just by sitting down and talking with them, and I think that's what the beauty is. We can be very involved, such as, medication reminders and more of these kinds of, formal kind of things, just to make sure things are happening the way they need to. But we can also just be friends. We can be, like what Dean said, sort of another family member, someone to give them company. So, a good conversation is sometimes all someone needs. So I think for me it was learning the levels of what we can provide, for other people.
Now, not only you combined those skills and those empathies in that service, but you're also an actor, and you combined all of that together in the most recent spot for Caring Senior Service.
Yeah.
So let's take a quick look at that one right now.
Fantastic.
Hey, it's David again. Today I'm here with Maribel, and we're outside enjoying some fresh air and sunshine. Maribel is a little unstable when she's walking, and Too many of her friends have taken falls resulting in broken hips, injured shoulders, and even have fallen on their noses. So having someone here to talk to and provide a little extra stability is an easy remedy. I've also organized her medication so that her family can be sure that she's receiving the proper daily dose. If you or a loved one could benefit from a caregiver, I highly recommend Caring Senior Service. They go the extra mile. Caring Senior Service. We want all seniors to be healthy, happy, and at home.
So David, was that kind of a flashback that day of filming, kind of like, oh, I remember doing these things? And
100%, 100%. Yeah, and Maribel suffers from dementia, which is kind of a personal one for me. My grandmother is suffering from early signs of dementia, and so it's been interesting because the timing with me working with Caring, learning about a lot of these conditions, which we get kind of a good education on. Just to know, and I learned so much about, the different things to look out for, telltale signs that sometimes are more subtle than you would think. So it's been, it was an education I could take, and working with someone like Maribel and others, it feels, it's just, it was a personal thing for me, yeah.
Yeah, his brother, John Gabriel, he's been amazing alongside of Ken, who he didn't want to just have any caregiver. He wanted a buddy, somebody that could go to the coffee shop with him and feel like it's a friend that's going out with him,
right,
and a partner. And then as his condition got worse, he would open up to John Gabriel, where he wouldn't necessarily open up to his family. And that becomes really intimate as well as important, as you know.
Yeah, and there's a safety in that. I mean, families come with histories. Families come with grievances and gripes, and I don't want to don't tell your mom, don't tell you, that kind of thing. So when you can develop a relationship like that with a caregiver, and there's a freedom there, there's kind of a blank slate with that person where you can just open your up and you're not going to face that judgment or instant criticism or whatever maybe those family dynamics seem like, right?
It's really true.
Talking about David Lambert and his experience here and your brother and that kind of thing, I want to talk real quick about what is it you look for in caretakers when you are doing those interviews. It's not just somebody who can sit there and be a babysitter, right?
You're right, Michael. It's somebody that is going to look for the extra thing to do. And it could be that they just have their eyes open and they can see that not only the dishes might need to get done and the bed might need to get made, but are there things that, loose rugs that somebody's going to slip on? And is it somebody that also is going to have a heart to care? You don't have to spend much time with David to recognize that he cares about people. And when you meet the caregivers that we hire, it's people that have that sense of love for somebody. And that will go the extra mile. Not somebody that's just going to just do the job, but somebody that wants to build a relationship.
And David, when you were doing this, did it open your eyes to like, oh, these are some of the challenges. These are things that they need to worry about, and I need to worry about for them.
100%. Yeah, I think one thing that really stuck with me was, we would do individualized care plans for people. We would do free walkthroughs to make sure that the house seems to be safe, and a good environment for them to be in. But there is a certain amount of vulnerability, I think, that comes with this kind of care, or it can, it has potential. And I think for me, it was very sort of eye-opening, and I think it did really touch me, to be there for people and can kind of personalize an experience.
So when should families call? What's the time to say, okay, it's time, we need to make a call and we need to get some service into the home?
I always recommend a call as soon as you get the thought. Not after the fall. Of course, that's when you definitely need to make a phone call. But it's time to, when mom and dad are by themselves, and then you start seeing that they were forgetting to take their medication, when you start seeing that they could use a little bit more extra help, it's time to make a phone call and just engage us. We can then help come over, spend a little bit of time with mom or dad, and build a little friendship before they make a decision on bringing a caregiver in. Now, we also do something that, we can easily pick somebody up from the hospital, bring them back home, get them all set up so that they are fed and tucked in at night.
Yeah, that's just like a temporary thing. That's your
Correct.
teams package, right? Where it's like, hey, I'm out of town. The relatives, family members don't live here. I have a parent going in for some surgery, and they need help for just this specific amount of time, right?
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
So all sorts of services. Dean from Caring Senior Services, the owner and proud owner, and former proud employee as well. I want to thank you
100%.
very much, David Lambert, for coming in today.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks,
you guys.
Michael.
You're watching This Day. We'll be right back.